Okay, so Julian Downs is my name.
Yeah.
I'm a developer by trade. I grew up coding back in the late '90s, and still have a passion for kind of coding and watching coding and doing that. These days, I do architecture technology, but I double that with my lifestyle farm that I've got. So there's two things. One, I have a passion for farming, right? So I started this meat business, kicked off the farming, and I absolutely love farming. Two, as I said, I'm a developer by trade, and looking at the way the technology industry is changing how we do things. AgriDrone is just that prime thing that brings those two together completely, right? So how do I get the AI, that development type capability with the farming? And it was, it just piqued my interest about, that's a sweet spot that I'm passionate about, and I can see that, hey, there's a lot of opportunities for taking that to other places as well. So my first concern was really about the scope of what was looking at, right? Farming, having a lifestyle farm that I've got and doing farming, I understand the tightness of farming and trying to run your farming business and looking after your family. So what growth opportunities are there? And I'm like, that's limited. So my concern was more about, okay, that's our first use case in AgriDrone. What's next? How does this thing scale to a lot of other use cases that can be there? And it was that kind of growth potential to say, okay, if I look at AgriDrone, is it limited to that, or how else can we think of it for the future? So meeting with Jono and having a look at the code, that kind of settled my mind a lot more, right? Understanding the potential, the patterns, the way they've structured the code to think about, how do I scale? How do I go beyond just the farming use case that we're initially looking at with AgriDrone? So that was my main reason for looking at the code, trying to understand, how do I take this further? How do we, as an organisation and AgriDrone, start going to those other pieces? Talking with Jono and further with Henny about what their vision was, how they've structured the code, how they're looking at growing those code, that kind of helped me say, yeah, okay, there's an opportunity here. So, I mean, the first opportunity, like any kind of startup, is to nail that first use case around the pasture feed for the side of things on the farming, right? That then proves the capability, etc. Then the next biggest opportunity is to scale that to a whole bunch of other use cases that exist out there, right? You start talking about whether I go to a smart city side of things. I've got my drones. I'm now monitoring. The Internet of Things just opens up a wealth of possibilities when you partner that with the drone side of things, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning. You've got a repeatable pattern that applies across a whole bunch of use cases. That's the biggest opportunity, and that's why I invested in AgriDrone. The greatest strength, I think, would be, so initially you've got Henny and Jono. Jono, an excellent developer, he's thinking differently, he's bringing all that youth and exuberance to that development side of things. Henny's passion and thinking about different use cases, but then you get the team vibe that's being looked at, right? How do we actually build something that people are passionate about, and having that team atmosphere going with it. Like any organisation, it comes down to those people and how you get those people excelling at what they're doing. Good people working with a great team and great vision. Probably just that growth and trying to scale reasonably quickly. Get that first mover advantage. So with that, there's risk involved, right? How quickly can we get that out there, get that completed and get it proved and going? That calls for going fast, getting something out there, proving that quickly, getting that pattern, turning that round quickly. So the key bit I would say is that in the thinking and talking with Jono and with Henny, it's not just about AgriDrone, it's about actually those future opportunities. AgriDrone's that first use case that we're working for, to then think about what's going forward. So you've got to move fast, get that first use case out, scale, get the other use cases going. That's probably one of the key things about AgriDrone that's inspired me, at least anyway.